More fallout after a controversial draft opinion was leaked from the U.S. Supreme Court. If finalized, a ruling would severely limit access to abortion. Anti-abortion activists argue it never should have been a constitutionally protected right to begin with, but abortion rights supporters say much more is at stake when it comes to health care. Laura Meyers joins us now. She's the president and CEO of Planned Parenthood in the Metropolitan Washington, D.C. area. Laura, great to have you with us. If the Supreme Court indeed does overturn Roe versus Wade, what are the immediate implications for women of this country who need access to reproductive rights and abortion?
Let's just say first that this is a draft, and we don't know what the final decision is going to look like. But if in fact what is articulated in this draft is in fact the final opinion, it will have dire consequences. It is truly our worst fears coming into reality, where we know that there are states with something called trigger bans, meaning as soon as Roe v. Wade is overturned, and of course this is 50 years of legal precedent that would be overturned. Should that happen, these trigger laws would then ban abortion immediately in those states, affecting 36 million women who would not be able to obtain an abortion in the state in which they're living.
So, Laura, what would it mean for women of color, especially those in low-income communities? A lot of these women don't have the resources to travel, let's say, to other states for abortion.
I think that that's really where the tragedy lies. That we know that women who have resources have always been able to obtain abortion. Even before abortion was legal in this country, they were able to travel overseas to obtain an abortion. It is poor women, and poor women of color especially, who will bear the burden of this very cruel, with these very cruel restrictive laws.
Laura, I want to put up a tweet by Florida Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz, and I'm going to read it out to you, and I just want to get your take on it. He says, how many of the women rallying against overturning Roe are overeducated, underloved millennials who sadly return from protests to a lonely microwave dinner with their cats and no Bumble matches, referring to women as overeducated and underloved?
Well, I would say this. I think the congressman is sorely misinformed and out of touch with who are the women who are seeking abortions. They are typically women who already have multiple children, so they know well what the consequences of pregnancy, childbirth, and rearing a children entail. And so I think that his remarks are so outrageously insulting and demeaning to women. And of course, when we think about these laws and the kinds of laws that this particular congressman would support, it is about controlling, demeaning, and humiliating women.
Laura, just considering the makeup of the Supreme Court, 3 justices, I should say, appointed by former President Donald Trump, and based on what we've seen with restrictions in red states across America, are you really surprised by this draft opinion?
We were not surprised. We had anticipated various scenarios with regard to the opinion, but of course this was the most extreme of those options. So we were not surprised. But I have to tell you, reading that draft opinion was nevertheless like a gut punch, where it really landed hard. That in fact, the individuals have all along been saying that their goal was to overturn Roe v. Wade and to actually see in writing that in fact that is what they intend to do, was very difficult.